On this episode, we are doing a debrief on the GORUCK Selection event that Danny Small Arms attempted, killed it, and we were all inspired, right, Trayvon?
Yeah, I think you can smell my fear through the headset.
That's Cole.
Danny's just the best way to put it. Dog.
Tyler C. Lover.
No other way around it. Savage.
Danny.
In the dark.
Thanks for sharing all the, big, crazy moments, low moments, and just the inner shit that you were dealing with. It was inspiring, bro. We were like fanboys on Instagram watching you try to complete this thing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate the platform and the time.
Yeah. Okay. Man of small words. A few words. Let's roll to the show. Small arms, few words. Bye. The Roundtable brought to you by MaxEverMuscle.com. I'm your boy Corey G. That's at Small Arms Danny, at Trey Speed, and the graphic gangster himself, Cole Susek. And we added fellow psychopath Tyler C. Lover today to talk about Danny's GORUCK experience. Now, Danny, I'm going to have you set the context, what you were embarking on, what the whole setup is. And we were following you online, super active, like every 20 minutes we were looking it up. Like we were like your cheerleaders, bro. Like 100%. It was like topic of conversation. We're super proud of you. And like, I don't know, it was just epic that you're pushing yourself like that. So I wanted to capture it. I did not call Danny since he's been back on purpose because I didn't want to talk about it before we got here, which is we're recording on a Monday, which is not normal for us. And just because I wanted it fresh in your mind, because I know you still hurting, player.
Yeah.
So put a backdrop together for us.
I guess what the event was. It's called GORUCK Selection. GORUCK's a company in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, founded by a Green Beret, and they have events every year. All of them are team-based except for this one. So this one is based around Special Forces selection specifically. So, you're talking Green Berets, Rangers, Marine Recon, SEALs. They have all their different selection processes. They're not trying to like create the same process because they obviously don't have enough time to do that for one, but they're just kind of trying to pay homage to it. Mm-hmm. In a 48-hour time period is what it is. So versus like the Ranger one's like 24 days or something like that. So
sure.
So it's very compressed. It's very aggressive, just constant berating. So this was kind of an event that's always kind of been on the back burner of my brain. And it just, I don't know. It took a while for myself to convince myself to do this. So
how many events did you do previous to either qualifying or thinking you could attempt the 48-hour killer, which is only once a year?
It's only once a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have like different tier events, obviously. So I just kind of viewed it as like an incremental process to see if I even had what it took. So there's the second tier up is called their Tough. So it's a 12-hour event. So it's a 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. sort of team-based event. I've done like 4 or 5 of those, and then they have some like rucking specific events where they are only rucking. So there's, no PT or anything like that. And then that kind of snowballed into the heavy. So that's the next one above the Tough, which is 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So I did one in Washington, D.C. So then you started to get into more of
the Tough has PT along the way.
Yeah.
So you're not just walking, like I'm not trying to down, just walking with your rucksack. You're actually being made to do, hard ass shit on top of it.
Yeah. It's all based around like building a stronger team. And what's really cool and was so intriguing about it was that most of these events, except for like 1 or 2, like I didn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. So not knowing anybody. And then by the end, you're kind of like buddy with these people because you're forced to like create bonds with each other to accomplish.
You're suffering together.
Yeah, because like no event's the same. So like some cadres will do certain things, some will do other things, but a lot of it's based around like a mission. Like you have to get from point A to point B. You got to carry this, or like you have this many casualties. Figure it the fuck out, sort of thing. So a lot of it's like that. And then that kind of evolved into, I guess it's just all about like constantly improving. So then I started to think about, I did a 50-mile ruck only. That was sanctioned by GORUCK a couple years ago. But then the next level up that was always on my mind was 100 miles, which we've talked about before. But so that was the next thing, trying to do 100 miles with no music, basically no external.
In 24 hours, right?
No.
How long did you?
It took me like 42 hours.
Oh
to do
shit!
That.
I've been telling people 24.
That'd be amazing.
And that was back in like.
That was last year.
Yeah.
I remember when you did that. It was fucking
like
epic.
Late September of 2020.
And I was just on your own.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this. I was like, he's like, gee, I had to plan the stuff for the blog because I'm not going to be able to post. I'm going to be like fucking rucking and sleeping. I'm like, yeah, dude, do your thing.
Yeah, that was really, really interesting. That's like where I really had to like start to dig into like deep into the reserves. That was like the first exposure I had with that, because the first 50 to 60 miles were tough, but like they were manageable. But then like what happened after that was like, fuck, like this is really, really hard. And like I was just carrying 30 pounds, which isn't even that much, but just the toll it took on your hips, your feet, and then just like it was very easy to bitch out if you wanted to.
No one was keeping you accountable.
Yeah. So anyway, that kind of evolved, and then into what is called team assessment, which I did earlier this year in 2021. So team assessment, so you have a heavy, and then they have some other kind of specialty events, but team assessment and then selection. So team assessment, you have one partner. So you select a partner. It's 48 hours long. So this is my first 48-hour long event. So this one you're actually competing against other teams, but to be honest, my mission was just to make it through 48 hours. So I was with one other girl. She didn't make it about 12 hours in. And so I actually was paired with someone else whose partner had dropped out as well. And so I was with someone random, and then we made it through. So that was a huge step in the right direction. So I just like viewed these as like stepping stones.
Sure.
And then there was a short period after that, and I'm like, all right, you got to fucking just roll the dice here. You just have to bite the bullet and do it, because I knew it was going to bother me if I didn't even try. So once I made the decision, I like signed up. It was real, as we talk about all the time, with the date on the calendar. And then it was just like full cyborg after that as far as training goes. And what makes it very hard for this specific event is that basically everything's unknown, especially if you've never done it before. Like when you show up, so, I showed up that day on Thursday. It started at 1 p.m. And the only two things absolutely for sure are going to happen at the beginning, other than like checking in, are 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups. That's all you know. And then you're just kind of standing there in formation after you complete that. Did you guys see the bike guy, by the way?
Yeah.
Dude, I was trying so hard not to laugh because
he rode 160 miles there.
Dude,
is he trying to impress him?
I don't know what he was doing.
Did they fuck him, or what did they?
Oh yeah, they made a whole reel about it. He roasted him. Like so after the 2 minutes of sit-ups and push-ups, we had to do a 5-mile ruck to like the guy's compound. Mm-hmm. But the catch was you had to carry everything with you.
So he had to bring his fucking bike.
Yeah, he had his bike alongside him the whole time.
He thought he was coming up like impressing him, and then it made it fucking worse.
Yeah. Ugh. But you had your kit bag on top of your rucks. You're having like 65, 70 pounds for a 5-mile.
Dude, even walking 5 miles with that, bro.
It felt like 10, but
yeah, I'm sure.
It's because anyway, so we got there.
That's just the starter.
So is this the official start? So the competition started at 2, right?
1.
Started at 1. So this is like your first
that was your
hour.
first mission.
It started from the time we lined up to check in.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got through the 5 mile. We're at the compound, and like you're there, and so there's this notorious hill in the backyard that goes down to basically where everything takes place. And I swear, no picture, no video does it justice.
Sure.
Like especially when it gets wet. It's a massive hill and it's long, but it's like a cable line that goes down to a creek. So roughly a half mile, I've been told. But basically we went down there, we dropped our kit bag in a line, and then it was like they partitioned us into like 3 groups. I think it was 3 or 5 groups. I don't know. And basically they call it like the welcome party, and that was the start of that. So like it's basically just an undisclosed amount of time of you're just getting beat the fuck down.
Yeah.
So which is all by design. So that's where a lot of the people get weeded out.
Like that quick?
Oh yeah. Like I heard somebody told me like between like 6 and 8 p.m. it was like at least 20 or 25 people dropped out.
Wow. Was that all
Damn.
PT stuff right there, Danny?
Yeah.
Like, give us an example. What, burpees, sandbag,
Yeah,
squats?
eight count bodybuilders. They were making us do overhead squats with our rucks above our head, which is very difficult.
Yeah, that sucks.
You know, a shit ton of lunges, which that came in handy, obviously.
Yeah, did you feel pretty good during those, Danny?
I felt good with the when that. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But lunges. There was fucking mountain climbers.
I hate fucking mountain climbers.
There was a lot of 8 count bodybuilders, and then the creek is like easily accessible, so we get getting in and out of the water, so you're soaked. Hydro burpees, clean
The
and
fuck's
presses.
a hydro burpee?
It's you just completely submerge yourself.
Also, you're doing burpees in the fucking water.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. There's at one point we were doing like, there was one time we got in, got like probably 100 in. We were like
Shit.
sounding off, like saying how many we were doing. He's like, stop fucking counting. Like the number doesn't matter. Just keep going. Like he just kept saying down.
With no end in sight.
Yeah.
That's got to be where it starts to fucking ping your mind, right?
Yeah.
And there's no end to sight on any of the activities, though, right?
How far in do you think this was whenever you started this? Like a few hours?
Yeah. So if we started at 1, this is probably, I don't know, between 5 and 8 p.m., I guess. But if I had to guess, like the stations, if you will, were probably around 20 minutes, 25, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah.
Probably feels like fucking forever.
Yeah, but like the only thing that was running through my mind there was like, just get to the next thing. Just fucking get to the next thing. So you're just kind of putting out, you're really trying not to make a target on your back, because once you do that, then you're going to be the subject for ridicule.
By going too fast or too slow?
Too slow, you're skipping reps, you're trying to fly under the radar versus just fucking putting out. Like you really have no choice other than to really just give it your all.
Like if you're doing something like you show like weakness, are they all ganging up on you?
Oh yeah, they'll swarm. Yeah.
Damn.
So I mean, it happened to everyone pretty much.
Yeah.
So like, I'm trying to think of another point. Like in the middle, I don't even know, somewhere in the middle of the night or something, between like the base of the hill and the water. I mean, it was a fair distance, and we're doing. Actually, no, from the water to the top of the hill, like literally that far. We did a low crawl, so like an army crawl.
I think I saw that on the
Yeah, I saw the
story.
pictures.
Like literally up the fucking hill. So that was rough.
Did it feel like every fucking
It
crawl
felt like
was
you were getting
brutal?
like this far at a time. Like,
Yeah. It felt like max effort the whole way up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like I mean, I didn't have sleeves on, so like it's just tearing you up. But like there was low crawls. There was, if you could imagine how a snake moves, their arms. He's like, put your hands on your hamstrings. Think about that for a minute.
Up
And
the
a
hill?
snake?
And you're on not up the hill, but just I don't even know.
And
how
you're just floundering around
yeah,
trying
you're
to
just kinda,
fucking.
like waddling on your shoulders, like
That's a new one.
yeah, duck walk, crab walk. Actually, we didn't do crab walk. Bear crawls, a shit ton of bear crawls up and down the hill.
I fucking hate bear crawls.
Yeah, those are rough.
Yeah. Especially with how big's the pack at this point? Is it 40?
So when it's wet, that's
Yeah.
when things change. It probably weighed at least 60.
What's the base
So
for the event? How much is the pack?
without food and water, it has to be at least 45.
Oh, shit.
But
Okay.
with your food and water, it's definitely over 50.
And then wet, which they love.
Yeah, you're easily 5 to 10.
They get
pounds
you
more.
wet as fast as possible, huh?
Yeah. I just thought it was always funny that like they tell you to like, because they have an extensive like packing list on your for what goes in your ruck and then what goes in your kit bag, and like they say like bring 4 pairs of socks in your kit bag. I'm like, I changed socks one time and then like 10 minutes later we were back in the fucking water. I'm like,
Why even bother?
yeah, I was like, this is almost silly. So yeah, I don't know. Do you want any other specifics? I feel like I'm just rambling.
No, but I think you're giving good context
Yeah.
now. So All right.
It's hard to understand if you're not like actually seeing it.
No, but I
Yeah.
think that it's going to give people who are hearing you, then they can go to Instagram and look at the GOAT. Like if you just go Instagram 1, which you were all over, which
Yeah.
was fucking sick. We were fucking hyped.
Yeah.
We were like, there's 6 people out of 50, and we're swiping, like, boom, there's fucking Danny. He looks like a savage. We were fucking pumped. And then when you got 17 reps on the one sandbag event, because you were number 47, right? You were at the top. So we were following all that stuff. What are people looking for when they go to these things, Danny? What were you in search of?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it just comes. I mean, they're really big on like asking like why you're even like doing this thing. So like that was something I started thinking about a long time ago because I knew that was going to be like the key element when things got hard. Because like Jason, the founder, he said something about like if you're doing this for the gram, like you're gonna fucking lose like really fast, and he's right. Which that never even.
If you're doing it for the gram,
that didn't cross my mind.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, you weren't gonna
at
post on
all.
Small Arms
Yeah.
Danny account.
Yeah, it's just not really me. But anyway, like it was just the first when I really thought about it, because like the easy one and the low hanging fruit was like I want to expand like my pain threshold, and I want to be able to like put my body through more and more. I want to like expand my boundaries there, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever. But now, like, we've been talking about babies and shit.
Yeah.
But like, I think about, which they make you submit a video before, and this was part of my video of like why you're doing this event was like, just like basically trying to be the best like person, like the best dad I can be. So I can actually like have something fucking hard and concrete that I can like from experience that I can like relay to my little girl to like basically don't be afraid to try hard shit. It's okay. It's okay if you fail at it. The important thing is you're trying and you're constantly trying to improve yourself and move forward. So that was like the biggest thing. So thinking about her and thinking about Linda the whole time, those were huge. Expanding my boundaries, and then one of my best friends, Joe, he's an Army Ranger still currently. He's the one who got me into GORUCK in the first place back in 2014. And so I was thinking about him, and then just like, I just felt like this need to like, I don't know, pay my respects to like the special ops and military community, just because like there's so much shit that we don't fucking know what they do.
So much.
That we take so much for granted. So it was really just honoring those guys, because I know they've been in much shittier situations. We're not getting fucking shot at during this. I'm like, I can do more fucking burpees.
Yeah. They're going through that plus getting fucking shot at.
Exactly. So those are like the 3 pillars for me of like why that I wanted to keep going.
And just to kind of wrap it, there was how many people were in it in this one?
So I think there was like 48, or there were 73 that signed up, but only like 46 or something showed up.
Yeah.
Maybe, or 48 showed up.
Yeah, because there's only a couple more pictures after yours. So 48, 49.
Yeah.
You made it to the top 5. You got 4th place essentially, right?
Yeah, I was like in the final 4.
Which is fucking epic.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I'd be fucking lying if I wasn't disappointed.
Well, of course you should be, because you can go push to get better. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't go, well, I'm good. I'm done with this. I mean, you're going to try it again.
More than likely, yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
It'll eat at you enough.
Yeah.
And what put you out, Danny? What event?
So making it to like the sunrise and the next day is a pretty big deal, which is what you guys saw. So right before they took that picture of us, like that was the hill in the background, like looking down to the water. And so right before that was probably the shittiest evolution. So like pretty much there was 12 of us that started it, I think, and 6 of us made it through. And so there was 2 lines of 6 facing each other. We had our rucks on, probably at least 60 pounds. And then we each had an 80-pound sandbag. So they started on our back. And so Cadre JC, which is Marine Recon dude, fucking loves the water. He's standing at the end, and I'm at his end, of course. So there's no hiding from him.
When
Yeah.
there's only 12 motherfuckers, you ain't hiding from
Well,
nobody.
It was still dark outside, but they had this big ass shop light on.
Of course.
So start on my back, and you're doing lunges in place off of his cadence. So like you go down, you stop, so your knees on the ground, and then he'll say up, which I was fine with that. Like I'll do that for a fucking like 2 hours. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it was when we had to bring, he kept fucking with us and having us bring it down in front. So bringing it over into a front rack.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like the buildup of everything we have done. We did so many overhead movements and like the bear crawls and stuff like that. I was just so smoked. I like literally couldn't, like I was hitting like a point of like failure pretty much. I couldn't hold it up here anymore.
Yeah, and that's
And
just
so-
pretty fucking solid for you too, like as an athlete.
Yeah,
in
and so
front
like I
back.
just kept going down and then having to try to get back up. I was like giving everything I got. So because they have like performance strikes where they'll like, because you start with the tan patch and then you have like on your third one you move to a yellow patch and then you move to a red patch finally. And if you have 9 performance failures, you're basically done. And so I got a few strikes during that, which it didn't put me out or whatever, but I expended so much during that like I was fucking just smoked. Like it was basically like doing a failure set over and over and over again. But like you don't get to pick how much you rest between.
That's tough.
But we finally made it through. You know, they did the picture thing, and then there was a very short turnaround between that and then the next thing, which was Chad is what it's called. It's 1,000 step ups for time, or not. In this case, it's a little different, but 1,000 step ups. And I've done this workout like 5 times.
Yeah.
And
But not with a fucking sandbag on.
well,
you.
as it's prescribed, usually is a 45-pound ruck, and that's on the 20-inch box, which is terrible to begin with.
Yeah. And is it back and forth as one, or is it one?
It's
2,
1,
3, 4.
2.
So 500 a leg.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
Still a
you just
fucking
can't.
solid,
I mean, you
yes.
can only
I
do
mean-
a step up so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so they made this makeshift. Did you see what? The,
Yeah. The
Yeah.
bales of hay with
Yeah.
the fucking board in between.
Yeah, so there's 3 on each side. So there's 6 of us or whatever. But like you have your ruck on, then you had a 60-pound sandbag on your back. So you have like 120 plus pounds on your back,
It's basically you got 135 back racked.
pretty much.
And that's basically, with you being wet, that's basically what it is.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and going into it, I was already fucking like dizzy, and like kind of you're starting to see that like that tunnel start to close a little bit. So I got through like 150 of them, I think, or
Mhm.
something like that. And like at this point, 2 guys had already dropped. Similar reasons. This dude across from me, like over here, he literally was talking about like some bird in a tree or something. I'm like, this guy's gone.
Like he was like,
Yeah, he was actually gone. And then, then I just I just like get to the next 10, just do the next 10, just over and over again. And then finally I just like fucking like, I could feel like my fucking pulse just like fucking, it like wouldn't stop. Like it wouldn't come down at all. And like, basically I just cut it after that.
it overwhelmed you.
Yeah. But I don't know. It just like between like the dizziness, the dehydration a little bit, and then me just giving up, I guess, you know, finally just fucking called it. So, and then once I sat down and then like my body was like knew it was finally resting, it like, I really like was like, oh. So it was fucking wild.
Trayvon.
It's so fucking entertaining.
I know. It's crazy, right?
I'm just gonna keep listening right now. Come back to me.
Do it.
Yeah.
Cole.
I think like from our perspective, this was just like ultimate badassery
Facts.
across the board. Like I was thinking about like what it would be like there, even like watching or partaking in it, and I honestly can't even fathom it. Like I really can't put my spot like myself in there because just of all the things I went through, I've never went through anything probably even remotely close to this. But like I was fucking so pumped the entire time, like
Same.
literally the entire day.
We were
We
checking
were
it
sitting
like
around
crazy.
here watching and all this shit.
I wish you could have
Yeah,
seen
it was-
how excited we were for you. Like, I think
Yeah.
you would have. I think you knew we were supporting you, but we were fucking like.
Like, I mean, like, dude, we were like in it. And what fucking pissed me off was GoRuck did a great job at like documenting the creative, but the fact that there was no live stream we
Yeah.
couldn't watch,
It sucked.
like, honestly, kind of pissed me off.
And some people were mad about it. I saw him chirping
Yeah.
online about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely fucking like put it on the table and just fucking went as hard as I could. Because like even like the I think I was telling you the 12-mile ruck, which is usually a part of the PT test, they threw that in later. So like,
Why
I
not?
had no idea because like usually you do it at the beginning when you're more fresh,
Gotcha.
but you did not do it when you're fresh at all. And then you had to go up the hill each lap. So they had a 1-mile track. So you'd start at the top of the hill was the start. You go all the way down to the water, around the cornfield, through the woods, and then back up the hill. And that was 1 mile. You do that 12 fucking times. So like we ended this probably, I have no idea, maybe like 1 or 2 in the morning, maybe. So it's just you and your headlamp in the moon in this corn, But like I like doing that. Like that I feel at home there when I'm doing that. So that didn't bother me. And then like it was me and this other dude. I didn't know who he was, but we were pacing off each other pretty good, and so we pushed each other pretty well. And then he randomly took off. I don't know why. On like the last 2 laps, I'm like, yeah, I got to stay in my lane here because of what comes after that. But their big thing is like, it pays to be a winner. So like basically, if you fucking win that evolution, or if you come in towards the top, guess what? You get to rest more.
Got it.
So they, they'll once you finish an evolution, and a lot of times again you don't know when that is. They'll just say like, all right, go ahead and do your priorities of work. So food, water, feet, not necessarily in that order, but
handle those.
take care of your shit pretty much.
Gotcha.
I was like, how are your feet holding up? My feet actually held up pretty well. But if you had blisters, or if you need to change your socks, if you need to change your shirt, they were really big on like topping off water and stuff like that. Like,
And that could be like what, 5 minutes to 20 minutes, maybe, depending.
we never had a 20-minute break.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like it just gives us like a context of like
Yeah.
how that operates. Like you might have fucking 5 minutes
Yeah.
to eat a fucking whatever and go.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It was just kind of just like shoves.
So would you be like, fuck, like when they would flip it like in 7 minutes? Or do you just like, are you in such a mentality that you're obviously expecting it to be short, so you're not like let down?
Yeah, I mean, especially going through the event in May, because that kind of set the expectation there for me. So like, it was just like, no, this is just kind of part of it.
It's what I signed up for.
Yeah, you fucking just go. Like, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
It's good. Tyler.
Yeah.
So I guess most immediately to what you're saying, for me, in the way that my brain works, just to try to gain any perspective from it, I only know how I could think. But to try to put myself in your shoes or anyone else that's competing at that time, I know, as I mentioned, for the way that my brain works, I was thinking, it's difficult for me, even in everyday life sometimes, to separate what reality is and from how I'm thinking. So it's like, so for me, just to admit, like if I were there, especially if it were amongst my first time competing in that, the only thing that I can relate to is like, I would struggle stopping my brain from thinking, okay, when will I get to a point to where I can have something that's in my control? So for you, how are you able to shift from thinking, so it would be difficult to not feel like that, right? So then you have to get yourself to a point where you say, okay, you know what? I get it. Nothing's in my control.
Everything's out of your control.
I
Yeah.
have to just go into a zone, right? Put the
Yeah.
horse blinders on that your body's not already doing to you and just march forward. But how do you balance that to where you're like, okay, I can march forward and you can begin to handle the physical aspect of it? But then I remember watching a little bit of that documentation and they were like, some people won't talk back because they're in so much of a zone or their body and brain are wearing down that much. How do you balance that struggle between allowing yourself to just go and march forward and complete the task at hand, but then also balance your brain with listening to them, being cognitive enough that you can pay attention, you are resilient enough to still be able to listen to what they're barking at you order wise, and how do you maintain that balance?
I feel like I'm kind of falling back on like how I trained, especially like the 2 months leading up, because like I mean, let's face it, everyone likes to train with music to some extent, right?
Yeah, of course.
Training without music, I mean, it sucks. I mean, but also once you get used to it, it's really not as bad as you think it is. But me just letting go of the unknown stuff, like, and just like accepting it for how it is, that was like probably the biggest thing. And then just like kind of having a calloused enough skin to not let them penetrate your armor. And because they are fishing,
Of course.
yeah, they are fishing
I'm
for anything.
sure.
Like if you even look over at like somebody quitting or something, like I don't even remember. I think there was a cadre that said like, oh yeah, you want to go quit with them or something like that. I'm like, what? I almost started laughing because I'm like, what are you talking about? Because like I didn't think I looked over at him or something like that, but like he was just seeing if I was going to react pretty much. But I'm like, I'm not gonna let this fucking guy dictate how I'm gonna feel. Which that was something I took from David Goggins when he talks about Hell Week, because he's like, you get to Wednesday and the instructors try to tell you how you're supposed to feel. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that. They can't dictate how you're going to feel. So all that's like just straight in your mind. But the one thing that I always repeated, like almost like a mantra, like during my training was like the only way is forward. Like you can't fucking go back. So it has to end at some point. So it has to end.
There's a run time.
Yeah. So you don't know, you might not know what it is. Is it going to suck? Yeah, it's going to suck, but it's eventually going to end. They're not going to kill you. They're not literally trying to kill you. So knowing that, you can take some comfort in that, but you're eventually going to be able to, get that drink of water or, get some food or tie your fucking shoe, stuff like that. So
the dude who made it through, which is pretty epic, by himself for like a fucking day, was he a fucking machine during these evolutions, Danny? Like, was there an obvious separation of like what he was
I would say so. He had that kind of like steely, just like kind of demeanor. I've never been on, in a jiu-jitsu gym or whatever, but it was like kind of like what I would expect to see. As far as from like a discipline standpoint, he was constantly, putting out. No, we weren't allowed. You're not allowed to talk to anybody, by the way, either.
The whole time.
Nothing.
Gotcha. To the cadres or to the other people?
To the cadres, if you're, if they say something, or if like, I had to take go to the bathroom at one point.
Dookie.
Yeah. But like I had to strategically pick that time. It was not like, hey, just go when you want.
Yeah.
Again, you don't want to paint a target on your back.
That'd be terrible if you're doing some fucking super hard, like,
that happened to somebody.
You like shit yourself.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah,
yeah. So the guy, yeah. But yeah, he was just a stud, man. He was just a Clydesdale. Like during that front rack thing, with the lunges, I couldn't believe. I'm like, how the fuck is he holding this up there right now? Like, because everyone else is struggling hard.
He looked like a pretty big dude too. He wasn't a small guy.
No, he was minimum 6'1", 6'2".
Probably 220.
Yeah.
Like he was a big motherfucker.
Yeah. He had at least 30 or 40 on me.
Yeah. Which also with the rucks though, that's usually harder for guys.
Yeah.
But in the strength training stuff, it might have helped him.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That makes sense.
Maybe it's gain phase time.
What's that? Gainesville. Gainesville. Yeah. Yeah. He was legit.
That's cool. Trey, back to you.
So when you were done with the Chad thing, and you finally came to your senses, what was your first like realization in your mind?
That's a good question. Honestly, initially I got really emotional, very emotional, because I'm like, God, you put all this fucking work in and now you're sitting here. Like that just was a shitty feeling initially. And then like, as I like started to like peel back the layers and try to like really analyze what was going on. Cause I felt good about the effort I put forward. Like I didn't feel like I just like, it got hard and then just like kind of threw in the towel and that's it. You know what I mean? Like I could have done that a long time ago. So I don't know. It was a really emotional experience, at least initially. And then it got better as I started to, kind of work through it myself, I guess. And then like later on when I got home, I started to write everything down like on a note, and that was really helpful too. So Yeah.
What were some of the forefront thoughts that you felt good about letting go when you wrote those down? What were some of the first ones, Danny?
I mean, the first thing I thought of was like this isn't a loss, like a total loss. Like sure,
Nothing but respect, Danny.
Yeah.
because I don't know, even like when I played like travel baseball as like a 9-year-old kid, like I was that little asshole throwing my helmet, like
I was
or,
that
like,
guy too.
yeah, because like I would just get so mad, like I don't know why, but you know, I fucking hate failing, like I hate it so much. So like to know exactly how much work I put in, to how much work put in, like without zero gratification from anything external, like just me by myself, to know how much I put into it. That's why I was so upset, because like it basically wasn't enough, I guess, to make it through. But on the flip side, it showed me what I need to do. Like I feel like I can construct a better game plan. I can reinforce the areas that need to be reinforced. I can add what I need to add into my program to make myself more of a bulletproof person, because not just physically too, but like the mental side of things. Because I think it was actually the guy who made it through who was talking about like the physical mental like ratio, and it's probably like, I think he said like 50-50. And I mean, I would have to agree. I mean, I don't know how it feels at hour 36, but like at that point you're running on, fumes physically.
For sure.
But like, if you ever watch like the documentary, or if any of the past finishers, that they do like a 24-hour check-in. And so like a lot of the guys, like the guys that are going to like know they're going to make it, like they'll say like, how do you feel mentally? And they'll like 1 to 10, and they're like 10, but physically they'll might be a 7, 8, or 9. That's what they'll say, even if they're lying. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it is you gotta lie to yourself at times.
yeah. So, but like that's the answer they're wanting to hear, and you could see when someone's starting to, because it's impossible for the seeds of doubt not to be there. Like they're always going to be there regardless. So it's like, how can you reframe it or use it as some, ammo or fuel to push through? Because it's obviously it's not the type of event you can just like muster up enough courage and strength for 15 or 20 seconds. Like you can't. It's just not going to work. So,
I mean, it's definitely not a loss, Danny. Like I think that only really what you put into it and when you essentially gave in. But if you run that back versus like we're having a hard time even conceptualizing signing up for it. And we're all kind of nutty in our own way, right? Rachel goes like this. She goes, I just can't believe how much tougher Danny is than you. I go, well, thanks, honey. Glad Danny's your new idol. But I said we're extremely proud that he attempted it. Once you made top 6, I thought you were going to fucking finish it. Like, that was my confidence. I have no clue what you're going through, but we were all like, Danny's fucking making it. But then when we heard you didn't, we didn't feel anything fucking different about you. All I thought was he will probably finish this at some point.
Yeah.
Might not be this month or next year, but it's going to, whatever he decides to do it, and the game plan, just like any other sport that you can put around it, you'll be able to execute it, bro. No question.
And one thing I particularly liked, like after I was like really thinking about it, was like, the documentary they came out with 2 years ago or last year, whatever it was, it's called The Standard. And like, that's what they're upholding as a standard. They're not going to flex that line. They're not going to lower the bar. Like, this is what it fucking is, and that's it.
If you can't meet it, you can't fucking pass.
Yeah. So especially in this day and age where like
Facts.
Everyone, gets a fucking ribbon, or like, here's a participation trophy. I'm like, that's like so unfulfilling. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, for sure.
But like when you're going into the darkness of your mind, like, cause there's nowhere else to go. Like they're constantly demanding more. And it's like, you just find a way to fucking claw and scratch another rep out, or to make it another hour. Like you find like different areas of yourself that you maybe didn't know were there. And so that's why it's so intriguing to me. Cause like, man, it's really hard to tap into that, especially by yourself. Like almost nobody does that.
No.
Yeah.
You're forced by a bunch of fucking badasses.
Yeah. And like when you hold these guys in such, utmost regard and respect, it's like you want to fucking keep putting out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tyler, back to you.
As much as you're willing to share, because all this is so intrinsic and, like you said, so much emotions involved, and you're the man in the arena at that point, and all of this is very personal. So based on what you're comfortable with sharing at this point, and this is alongside the fact that you're familiar with GORUCK, everything that it stands for. You've been through some of these events before. You train like an animal anyway. Is there anything that you pulled from your time in that dark place, and when you had to push and you were alone and they're eating at you and you're asking all these questions, anything that you could be going through? Is there anything, if it's a new ethos, something new that you learned about yourself or reality that you're in, that you pulled from your time when you were in those darkest moments?
I mean, the first thing I think about when you said that was like, you got more, like you always have more to give. So, actually my friend Blaine sent me something either this morning or last night. But it essentially was, here it is. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not great at all. It's anti-entitlement. So that was from that.
That's great.
The Mark Manson dude, the
Mm-hmm.
subtle art dude. But yeah, I think it just comes down to like being constantly like looking for ways to improve yourself. I don't know.
Self-talk.
Yeah.
Just expecting
Self-talk
more.
is huge because it's if you start going down the negative path, like you're basically done.
Oh yeah, if that loop starts in that situation,
'Cause
excuse me,
you're
you're
looking,
fucked.
You're looking for the way out.
And then they're gonna see it, and then they're gonna
they
pray.
said multiple times like they can smell they can smell the fear.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cole, you think they could smell you?
Out there? Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I think here's what it did make me want to do. Definitely didn't make me want to sign up for this stuff, but it did make me want to get maybe a rucksack and try some of the like basic shit just to like add in once a week, or definitely inspired me to attempt some of that stuff for sure.
It's a low impact thing. I mean, I know you're not a fucking runner.
No,
I don't-
I would much rather do this than run a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's good for your posture. It adds a little bit of weight.
I'm doing it for my posture.
Yeah, you like that. I was trying to give you any way out.
Yeah. No, but for real, I definitely like it inspired me to. I definitely think it's something like I've put like some dumbbells in my fucking backpack and walked around a few times and be like, all right, this is what Danny's trying to do. Like I didn't tell you that, but I definitely want to buy one and say, hey, you know, maybe on a Saturday I go do 5 miles or something just for a new type of challenge, which I would have never even thought about trying if it, you know, this wasn't some of the stuff that you did. So
Yeah.
it's inspiring, Danny.
And it's just another bonus for like, you know, whether it's your girl, your family, whatever. You can go walk with your. I mean,
Yeah.
I walk with Linda all the time.
With your sack on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
That
the
makes
time.
sense.
And
I like that.
Like that's not gonna stop, especially
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
have a kid.
No. Why are you smiling?
You just said you just walk around with the sack.
I know that. Hey,
I was looking around to
listen,
see.
he said
Everybody
I was looking
he
around.
said penetrate. I was
Yep.
gonna go there, but it was too
Yep.
serious of
Just
a moment.
had to get in
so I
there.
just like
Had to get in there.
I had to
just
jump to the next sentence.
yeah.
I've had a lot of little that I saved. I didn't break out. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I guess like the big thing for me was this, like you doing this event was like probably like in a while the first time I felt like pure gratitude, and I was so fucking excited for like you to be doing something out there,
Yeah.
like completely out there. Like, it was like truly authentic. Like I was like fucking hype.
I felt the same way.
That's interesting because they're like, you know, I didn't have my phone obviously the whole time, but like when I turned my phone back on eventually,
Was it lit up?
yeah, I was like kind of blown away. Like,
Yeah. Well, you're not doing it for anybody else, Danny. That's why.
Well, yeah, that's the biggest thing. Neither was that guy. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't know. I've heard that guy on a podcast before because he's attempted it before and got rhabdo.
Ah, interesting.
So last
So
year,
he does put out, because the only way you're getting rhabdo is if you're a fucking maniac.
yeah, he's a fucking beast. Cause like he did team assessment like 2 years ago with a guy. He's from like the DC area, I think, and his partner for that I had done a heavy with
Okay.
randomly there, and they had done team assessment together, but his partner, that guy, had dropped out because of like abdominal cramps or something. I think he like overdid the hydration thing. So like they require you to have ORS, like oral rehydration salts. Like it's like concentrated electrolytes. So you can replenish, obviously, because you're losing so much during this. But they allowed him, because there was no one else to pair him up with. He continued by himself for probably, I don't know, 24 hours.
Jeez. He's got a fucking beast.
Yeah. So he's legit.
That's got to be inspiring. Oh, because you witnessed what's possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's possible. But like, even with like my sister, she was blowing me up, and like my sister, like about this event specifically, and like her, knew her husband now. Like, I mean, we talk and stuff, but like we never like really connected on something before. And he was like, they were like both so pumped up about it. And then they sent me cookies and like all this stuff. It was amazing.
Well, Danny's ultimate, it's separation, bro.
Yeah.
People respect it if they're not haters, especially if they love you, like your family does, like we do. Like, how could you not?
Yeah.
That's just not something you thought about going into it, though.
No, obviously, definitely not the reason you do it. But yeah, I mean, if you can inspire people, great. I mean, because the guy who I did my first event with, I challenged him to do 100 miles. Because he was been in the ultra world for at some point in his life, and then he did it on September 11th. So he just recently did that and completed it like in like 52 hours.
Oh,
Wow.
Or something like that. But he was hitting me up, talking about it, like, super pumped up and giddy about it. My parents, like, I don't know. Yeah, it was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought you were going to inspire through the @SmallArmsDanny account.
Yeah,
swipe up. This is just a whole different level.
Yeah, just real quick. Did anyone like comment like, "Oh my God, you're Small Arms Danny" or anything like that? Because listen, hey, in the fucking GORUCK comments, I'm tagging Small Arms. It's a large T-shirt, not a medium.
Yeah.
When I saw that
Slap
comments,
dick.
it was funny. There was like 5 in a row. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Great.
Yeah, that's fucking good. Well, this is like a debrief, basically. Anything else you can add about? Is there in your mind a time frame to head back to try it again? Is it like you're just going to pinpoint some training, and when you feel essentially ready for another kind of attempt at this, what's your kind of plan? I know it's kind of fresh.
Yeah, I mean, 2022, I'm not going to do it. Because I was like, I instantly started thinking about when,
Of course.
if I was going to do it again. 2023 would be the next time I would try to do it if I'm going to do it again.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mostly because of like, there's just a lot of stuff going on between now and next October.
Like having a kid.
Yeah. And like the next one's in Jacksonville Beach. It's like, so you have the travel element. It's like, it would be too much. And the last thing I would do is miss out on any like little moments and shit. So, but I will, they'll be releasing like their schedule for next year very soon. So I'll definitely be doing like a few events though.
Yeah.
Probably more local, but
Pretty fucking sick. You guys got anything else? Go ahead, Todd.
Last thing Cole had mentioned was just he mentioned his own gratitude, kind of witnessing what we could on social media. When you were able to just kind of download all of your thoughts and kind of be with your thoughts outside of that extreme, like when you were still there on the plot, what were some of the top things that you were the most grateful for, even at the most simplistic level? I mean, if it was the security of your own home with your family, whatever it was, what are some of the things, even if they were a new realization of the reality that you live in, that surround you with gratitude?
yeah, I think just recent years, like, I don't know, you just kind of realize that like there's not really much in your life that matters. Like it's like on one hand
That truly matters.
that actually matter. Yeah. Between like, my wife, soon to be kid, my family, like, career, like, and the closest friends around me, you're like, yeah, this is it. Like, all the other stuff is just like fucking distractions,
Mm-hmm.
So it really just kind of cuts away at all that stuff. I don't know. You just want to be a better person, I guess. So
That's good.
Figuring that out.
Nothing but pure respect, Danny.
Yeah, fucking awesome, Daniel.
Thank you.
Fucking so good. There's nothing you can even add to that. That's a great way to wrap it because it takes it down to what really matters. And you have to dig deep in your own mind. No one can save you.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
I don't know. It's a place I'm like continually wanting to revisit. It's just, how can you even just like on a day-to-day basis, how can you tap into that?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, I mean, everyone should, follow at Small Arms Danny. So proud of you, Danny.
Segue.
I'm your boy Corey G. That's at Small Arms Danny, at Trey Speedin, the graphic gangster himself, Cole Susek, with Tyler C. Lover on board too. This is a Roundtable brought to you by MaxEverMuscle.com, and we are out.